Sunday night, I was at Asbury Festival and had a couple beers and had dinner, and I will give you 3 guesses to what I had for dinner. Bratwurst, yeah. Hey.
I would have never guessed.
Yes, we did.
Syrup dripping from his fake road. Who did he see when he heard I was there? Now it seems that he should.
And everybody, welcome out to the Log Room Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, November 9th, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai.
Hey, guys.
What the hell are you doing? What are you looking for?
I'm looking for my gun.
You're looking for your gun?
I don't know where I put my gun.
Did you leave your gun?
I must have left it somewhere, yeah, but I don't know. Well, at least I have this cannoli.
There you go. There you go. I see what you did there. This
is from Ferraras.
It's from Ferraras or Ferraras?
Ferraras.
I was going to say, you can't say that with cannoli in your mouth.
No, just off of Mulberry.
Yes.
Little Italy.
I've been to Ferraras many, many times.
This was done after. This was got that up this right after eating at Lamella's. If you've never eaten at Lamella, you need to go.
Mm-hmm. Lamella's is great. I concur, and not too far away. It's not, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but Vincent's.
Never been to Vincent's.
Yeah, Vincent's. Their whatchamacallit, their linguine with fried calamari is amazing. We used to in bands.
I love that John didn't go with the Italian pronunciation of it. He went with the North Jersey Italian.
No. I went with the Brooklyn pronunciation of it. Get it straight.
About the tri-state area, the Galamad. There's no G.
Calamari.
There's no G. There's no D in it. In Italian, true Italian would look and go, "What are you talking about?"
All right.
Like gabagool. This is just words that were invented in this area.
Are we in Naples right now, or are we in? Where are we? All right. Have you seen the Brooklyn Spelling Bee with Tony Sirico and Lorraine Bracco? All right. Mozzarella. Prosciutto.
It's mozzarella. Gabagool.
Marinade. All right. Linguine with fried calamari. Is that better?
That's
better? Yeah. My great aunt would be thrilled that I said it.
Don't they actually pronounce? I think they actually pronounce the last vowel, which
calamari.
Calamari.
Right.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Right. Galamad is a United States thing.
No. The proper term is bastardization.
Well, I was being nice.
But hey, it's how we all say it. You go into any Italian place and don't say it properly, they're going to look and you go, "What's calamari?"
It's mozzarella, not mozzarella.
Nah, I want mozzarella.
I want mozz.
Mutz.
Give me the mutz. Anyway,
so where were we? Okay, so
I don't know. We've dived down this rabbit hole here.
Yeah,
you left the gun and took the cannoli, and then all hell broke loose. So. Speaking of cannolis, though, I actually had one of my favorite cannolis of all time on Saturday night. Of course.
Did you really?
Yeah, we're up in Boston.
You were was it Mike's?
No. Across the street in the block and a half down. Modern Pastry.
Yep, it's one of those two.
Modern Pastry.
Johnny was in Boston.
Mm-hmm. Bova's up the block, up the side street is pretty damn good too, and they're open 24 hours too, so it's great.
Oh, what's the one with the little window? That's Mike's, right?
Well, I mean, yeah,
you
they
walk
have a
up on the
window,
street.
But there's a big inside too, but.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying, but the one where you can that's Mike's.
Right. Modern used to be Modern's great, still is, always was. But it used to be like the best kept secret because everybody went to Mike's, right? And so when you walked up to Modern, you walked right in, you got your cannoli, you got your coffee, whatever you got, right? Espresso. Now, of course, everybody found out about it. Now there's just as long a line at Modern as there is at
I'm sure there
Mike's,
is.
So.
Well, we were in the city yesterday, Sunday,
right?
And we'll get more into why we were where we were later.
Mm-hmm.
But we're walking. I forget what road we're walking on, but there's all these places. Now, if you've ever walked through, and we parked in Chinatown. If you've ever been in Chinatown, so many of the restaurants just have all the Peking's ducks.
Peking's ducks.
Peking's ducks.
The
Peking ducks.
Peking duck.
Peking duck in the window.
Yeah.
And but no place had a line except for this one place that it went down the damn block. So we're gonna have to figure out why that place is so special.
We'll have to get on that.
We'll have to get on that one. But we went to the Bowery Beer Hall, Bowery Beer Garden,
Bowery Beer Hall.
Beer Hall.
Yeah.
Went there, then we went over to Lamella for lunch
Mm-hmm.
in Ferrara and brought that home. Didn't eat it there. I was already waddling my way out of Lamella, and we had the tiramisu there, which is so good.
Sure, absolutely. But yeah, a lot of good exploits up in Boston. It was a good trip. 4 days, Friday to yesterday, and it was got home late last night. But covered a lot of ground. Good. It was good.
Well, I'll be up there in a week and a half.
A couple of weeks. Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. And I'm staying real close to Bukowski.
Yeah, well, we actually can't stand any closer than we did. We were right across the street.
I'm not that close. But
we were there on Sunday night for a couple hours. That was good. Had some good beer in there.
Yeah, we'll most definitely be hitting that because it's a short stumble.
Just so you know, on their food menu at Bukowski's. One of my other favorite bars in Boston closed a couple of years ago, and before the pandemic too. That was Lower Depths.
Right.
And that's gone. It was up on Commonwealth, but whatchamacallit, Bukowski's the same owner. So they actually, one of their main tots that they had, because they had great tots over at Lower Depths, they actually have it on the menu at Bukowski.
Great what?
Right now. Tots, potato tots. Bacon and whole nine yards. It was really good.
Loaded tots.
Love tots. Good. Anyway, so what is there's what
Oh yeah.
We've got it's like 7 minutes into the show here, and we've been talking about cannolis and
well,
stuff.
I was so intent on getting that opening gag out that I completely forgot. Well, today is National Fried Chicken Sandwich Day, but we 86th that.
Yeah, we 86th that.
We 86th that one for Chaos Never Dies Day.
Yeah, Happy Chaos Never Dies Day. Yep. There you go. Right.
Yep.
Happy
Chaos Never. Well. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure that's the way it's spelled.
What? Well, how would I spelled it KAOS, right? Happy Chaos Never Dies Day, right?
No, happy. No, you spelled happy right.
You spelled happy right.
Yeah,
chaos. KAOS, chaos, right?
Yeah, but that's not the way the day.
But it says it right here in this picture. I mean, here, look. Here's Bernie Coppell from.
There he is.
Get Smart. It says chaos right there in the back. See KAOS, right? See.
Unfortunately, they did die when the series got canceled.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
I guess you're
but
right.
I actually think it's pronounced CH.
It's pronounced CH?
Spelled CH.
Spelled CH. So it's like this then.
It's like that.
There we go.
And when I first saw this day, I thought that it was like Chaos Never Dies and Chaos, and how does it go? And even Death May Die. But this is Cthulhu. If you're Lovecraft fans, you know what I'm talking about. And
right.
So I thought that's what it was about, but that's really not what it's about. What it's about is the chaos of our everyday lives,
sure.
And how we always okay, things will settle down, and things never ever settle down.
And because when one thing does settle down, something else starts. So
there's always something.
Exactly. So,
like there's always another beer.
Exactly. So I see you're drinking one already. So,
oh yeah. So, I've been waiting long enough.
Just so everybody's aware, we were starting late to begin with, and then we had to push it a little bit later. Our guest tonight is actually at a Brewers Guild meeting in New York, and he double booked. So, but it's going longer than it normally does. It should have been done a while before. So when we did plan on starting at late to begin with at 7:45. We would have been fine, but here it is at 8:30 now Eastern time. And,
we might be flying this whole thing solo.
Well, we're gonna talk about his brewery. We're gonna talk about stuff, but he will be joining. He has the link. He will be joining us at some point. The meeting's not going to go on all night long.
But apparently, he is celebrating Chaos Never Dies Day today.
He is definitely he is definitely celebrating Chaos Never Dies Day. So there you go.
Speaking of chaos, okay, so Chris Cuzme. Owner, head brewer at Fifth Hammer.
Fifth Hammer, yep.
Right.
Yep. Owner, head brewer, and saxophonist.
And saxophonist. I've heard that.
Yep.
And
more on that when he does get on the show. So
now I'm drinking a 6 point right now around the Fifth Hammer because on Sunday I was supposed to go to Fifth Hammer.
Yep.
we were dropping some people off in Lower Manhattan,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're gonna drive, across to Queensboro and get over to Fifth Hammer or the Queenstown Tunnel. Either way works.
But the Queensboro Bridge was closed for some reason on Sunday. Why is that, Dave?
There's a whole lot of people out there
It's like
running for
55,000 people running around.
No, they actually limited it. It was limited this year.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the New York Marathon was limited.
Which is ironic because the New York Marathon is actually usually limited to 55,000 people.
Yeah.
So it's ultra limited this year. So.
It was, super limited. So we couldn't get there. So that's why we drove up into Little Italy.
Gotcha.
Chinatown, had some beers, had some fantastic Italian food.
Very nice.
So good, so good, so good. You have to definitely get there. I know you've been there. I'm talking to the people out
You definitely, absolutely.
there. Get there.
Yeah. Well, New York Marathon Day is cool though too. I mean, I've been there a bunch of times.
It is, but
involved in it directly.
But we're going to hit 4 breweries while we're there because Rockaway's there, Big Alice is there, and Iconic is there.
Yep.
They're all within park in the middle and just
walk.
Circle around and then spiral back into your car.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kind of what we did up in Everett, Massachusetts on Saturday as well.
Yeah.
Started night shift and Bone Up is just down the block and right around the corner from both of them is Short Path Distilling. So
there we go.
That's an easy 4 hours easy right
You get
there.
some more gin?
I did. And I also, we hit a distillery on Friday night down in Dorchester in Southie in Bully Boy Distilling. The one that I have, in fact, I have a bottle of it back over there. There we go. Right.
So we might
right there, that bottle right there.
That bottle right there. Okay.
It's an old fashioned. It's a bottled old fashioned. So they actually age their whiskey in their bourbon in oak barrels with Luxardo cherries and oranges and everything else. So they actually make old fashioned. So you pour it over ice and you're ready to go.
Yeah, you've talked about this a few times.
I have, yeah, but I didn't get that. They actually have a couple of Amaros. They have a regular Amaro, and then they have one that have extra rhubarb in. They call it rhubarbaro. They call it rhubarbaro. They call it. It's an Amaro rhubarbaro. So
not a huge rhubarb fan.
I'm not really either, but this Amaro was so damn delicious, and it won double gold in San Francisco. So I had to get a bottle of it. So I'll be you'll see me pouring a little bit of that on one of the Tom shows at least, if not other shows. So
probably
anyway,
if not tonight.
If not tonight, yeah, exactly. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to vamp a little bit, and get into some other discussions of maybe what we did over the weekend and maybe some stuff about Fifth Hammer while we wait for Chris. But since Dave already opened his beer, and there it is right there on the Chris, it's a 5.5% Pilsner.
I may have another one of these.
6 point.
Well, they call it a Pils on the can.
PILZ, I know. But I'm pretty sure that's short for Pilsner. So I took the liberty and spelt it out. I'm guessing. What's it taste like?
But
Pilsner?
Pilsner just means from pills.
True. So then is there a pills section of Brooklyn?
No, but I'm sure there's lots of pills dealt out in Brooklyn.
Well, that depends.
They got a lot of pharmacies there.
They do. That is true. I see where you went. All right, I got you. All right, I'm going to open my beer. I'm going to open my first beer.
Okay.
I'm thirsty.
I'm probably gonna open my second while you're opening your first.
Well, why don't you open your other crisp?
That's what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm opening another crisp.
There you go.
This one's a little bit of a regular.
It's an irregular Pils? Oh, it's a regular. Got it. You got that at the scratch and dent sale, right?
No, I did that myself.
Intentionally?
No. It's not opening very well, but so let's talk about what you have. Yours is a little more special.
I was going to say, why don't you just poke your finger in the bottom of it like Tony did last week and open it loud.
I've got to practice on that.
Side sip it.
But I got to make sure I'm standing outside of the emergency room at the time.
I was going to say that you had to have at least a couple of Band-Aids with you just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
All right, my first beer right here, I actually bought yesterday in Charlton, Massachusetts at Treehouse.
I was going to say, I hear there's a good brewery in Charlton.
Yeah, Charlton, Massachusetts.
Look at that. Look at that. That's a serious hiker right there.
In fact, I was just leaving maybe about 20 minutes ago this time last night.
Yeah.
So right there. It's called Nomad. It's a 4.8% dark Czech lager.
Why would you want a dark Czech lager?
Why
Did you bring me any?
Did I bring you any? Maybe. It depends on if I see you. I still have some. How's that sound?
Oh, great. So unless I see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow. I see where you went with that.
Mm.
So let me just pour it in here really quick. Actually, I'm going to pour it slow if you don't mind. I'll Liz pour it.
Do a nice slow pour.
Here we go. I wish I could do it even slower pour. Right there. And they actually had a slow pour tap. There it is right there. My treehouse glass, too. I'm really, see the treehouse hat, treehouse beer, treehouse glass.
Fanboy.
Yeah, well, I just figured I'd do something different tonight.
You got a nice Becker there.
They had, it was very nice. They had a slow pour tap. I actually had this beer out of a slow pour tap last night. It had a nice marshmallow head on it. It was really, really tasty. So.
How does that stand up to the having it at the brewery?
Damn close. Yeah. Other than the mouthfeel from the slow pour tap, flavor is exactly the same.
I feel like I'm drinking a Red Bull.
I'm sure this doesn't can here. Let me look at the date on here. It was canned.
Great angle right down.
There you go. It was canned a week ago. So there you go. And I'm sure the keg that I had the draft out of yesterday was probably kegged a week ago. So
yeah,
same beer. There you go. Cool. That was really tasty. Very, very, very tasty. So I can turn the crawl off now. Everybody knows it's Nomad.
Yep.
I had a big long conversation
with
one of the guys.
They still have it when we drive back.
What's that?
Oh crap! Are they open on Mondays?
They are. I was just there yesterday. You tell me.
You were there yesterday. Yesterday was a Monday.
That's correct.
Ergo.
They're
open on Mondays.
They're open on Mondays. There you go.
Okay.
They're open till 8. Of course, we were there like 8:15 or so. But
well, Monday for me is going to be. I'm going to be up in not this Monday, but the Monday after.
Right.
And I'm going to be in Boston for work. I'll be working Saturday and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But during the day I kind of I want to hit all the Trilliums in town because I've only been to the one in Canton.
Right.
So we'll get down to the Seaport.
Mm-hmm.
We're within walking distance from Fenway.
Right.
The Greenway may not be open.
I do not believe it's open. We went by and I don't believe it's open. I'm pretty sure it's not.
We'll have to see about that. And that's the 3 that are in Boston proper. So I'm not missing one, am I?
Fenway.
I said Fenway.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
I said we're staying in a walking distance from Fenway.
From Fenway, right? Yeah, I got you.
So we should. But then again,
there's no
everywhere.
Food at that one, by the way.
Yes, we're aware.
Okay.
And just remember,
you can order from many of the restaurants or rather deliver it there.
Yeah, there's quite a few there.
Yeah.
But just remember, everywhere's walking distance if you have the time.
Everywhere in Boston is walking distance. We were in the North End. We were staying in the Back Bay, and we ate dinner on Saturday night and walked back to the Back Bay from the North End. So
from the North End, very, very doable.
Absolutely.
And John wants me to stop at the Sam Adams
the Boston
Tap House,
Boston Tap Room. Yeah, I was there yesterday. They brewed a beer this year. They only brew every other year, every third year or so. One of our favorites.
Yeah.
When I say our, I mean us, Dave and I. Old Fezziwig.
Beautiful beer.
Beautiful beer.
And this is one of the OG holiday ales out of this country.
Oh yeah, big time.
Anchor, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year beer.
Mm-hmm.
Old Fezziwig was another. Yellow Snow was pretty. that came out a long time ago. It wasn't quite a holiday ale though. Oh, and Harpoon Winter Warmer. So Harpoon, Anchor, and Sam Adams. Those were probably the OGs.
Yep, you're absolutely right. But had that too at Harpoon, by the way.
And we plan on going to Harpoon.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if we follow, now here's a question.
What's the question?
Harpoon and Trillium, not too far from each other, right?
No, not at all. Only a few blocks, really.
4 blocks, I think. Right? 4 or 5 blocks. Yeah. So there's 2 theories as to how you order the breweries you go to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you hit the best first while your palate's fresh?
Right.
But the risk is the next one you go to, the beer's all going to taste like ass to you. One, because your palate's exhausted, but also you were at what you consider the better brewery.
Right?
Or do you start with a lesser brewery? And I'm not, no offense to Harpoon, but we're talking Trillium here.
Right.
You start there.
There are some pretty damn good beers at Harpoon.
Oh yeah, no, they do.
Not most. A lot of those don't make it to distro, but
right. So do you start at Harpoon and then risk wearing your palate out before you get to Trillium?
Right.
And sometimes it's like risk getting full.
Right. Well, see, that's my biggest risk, right?
Yeah.
Is getting full. What I tend to do is, if we're doing a brewery crawl, put something in between breweries, whatever it may be, a cup of coffee, a lunch stop, food, a bite to eat really quick.
But even food and coffee can. But then again, you're going to eat before you, so it's.
You're going to eat before anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I mean, I'm just saying, as far as keeping it fresh between each. Just something in the middle, so you're not, finishing at one brewery and walking into the next. I mean, you and I have never done that before, right? We've never finished at one brewery, went across the street to another, and then went across the lot to another, and then went just down the same lot to another. We never did that before, right?
We've probably done that 3 times.
But in any event, or more.
Probably more.
But
we did it in Maine.
We just did it in Maine a couple months ago. Yeah. But in any event, put something in between. Put a cup of coffee. Put whatever. Have a big bottle of water, and take a long walk before you get to the next brewery. Whatever.
Man, we estimated that so wrong. Harpoon's like 11 blocks away.
Oh my God, it's a whole 11 blocks. Well, you have to drive that. Take an Uber.
Well, we said 4 or 5, but and they're not like long avenue blocks in New York City, at least.
No, they're. I mean, it's literally probably it's less than 4 or 5. 4 or 5 city blocks. From here to 4, a long city block will be known as a flive. It's a flive. Remember that. Nosefield and flive.
So
they fight crime. Nosefield and flive.
Nosefield and flive with their trusty mastiff.
Exactly.
But we have so I'm looking like what's between the two of them. And there's plenty of places to eat, but I wanted to kind of eat at Trillium. I would love to be able to afford to eat at Morton's, the steakhouse.
Right.
Oh, that's one of my favorite steak. John knows this. I usually do not eat at steakhouses because, for the most part, I can cook a steak better than any steakhouse.
Right.
And so can Carrie. Actually, she cooks them better than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But Morton's.
Mm-hmm.
Morton's, Capitol Grill, those two I make exceptions for.
Right. Yeah, I definitely do too.
Well,
Capitol
and then
Grill is pretty good.
Well, let's face it. Almost every time I've eaten at Capitol Grill, and every single time I've eaten at Morton's, it was on the company dime. So
there you go.
Makes it all the better.
Makes it taste even that much better. Absolutely.
Coffee rub, bone-in ribeye? Yes, please.
Doug Smith wrote in. He said, "Hey guys, nice. You got some Old Fezziwig. Old Fez has been relegated to the holiday 12-pack. Yes, we know. And there's 6 beers in it, so you get 2.
2 of them.
Lovely. Did you get it on tap? No, actually, they that's the problem. That's why Dave's going back. I was at the Sam Adams Brew House tap room, Boston tap room yesterday, across from Faneuil Hall, and it wasn't on yet. It's going to be on in about a week. Dave will be up there after that.
The reason John wants me to go there is it's kind of selfish, because it's the only place that you'll be able to get in 4-packs.
I don't believe there's 4-packs, but we can get it in. You can get it in crowlers. They're
crowlers.
Crowlers, yeah, they're filling crowlers. Yeah, so they'll have it on tap there, and you can fill crowlers.
Oh, I thought they were going to have it in 4-packs.
Well, they might. They might have it in 4-packs. I know they had it in 4-packs a couple of years ago. The last time they made it, because I was able to get. They have all the 4-packs in there. And yes, by the way, I do remember when it was in 750 bottles. That beer's
way back.
Such a good beer. So.
That was back when Celebration was in 12-ounce bottles.
That was back when Celebration was in 12-ounce bottles. Yeah, exactly. More on that in a couple weeks.
Oh my God, I have seen it in cans, and it's like, I like most people in the craft beer world. I get the can protects it better. Mm-hmm. It just looks wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just looks wrong, and I'm sure we'll get used to it, and it'll be a beautiful thing. Just looks wrong.
It does. So, more on that later. We'll talk about it because we got a special surprise for everybody now.
We do.
Yeah, it's time to bring our guest on.
Who's our guest again?
Our guest tonight, all the way from Long Island City, New York, fresh from Alewife Brewing, where he attended a meeting that ran
those
3 hours long.
lunatics.
Those guys. Here he is right now, Chris Cuzme.
Hey.
Fifth Hammer Brewing. How's it going, Chris? There he is right there. Brewer,
good.
owner, and saxophonist at Fifth Hammer Brewing.
Very true.
What are you? It looks like you are holed up in a stock room.
Yeah, that's how we that's our budget for office.
That's the space of the brewery you have for an office.
A modest start, but I do have stuff that looks like that. You know, I can walk us around in here if you want at some point.
in the stock room,
in the brewery or in the stock room.
You're just gonna stand and turn around.
Yeah, you know.
There you go. So it's a quick tour. It's a quick tour.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So, how was the meeting?
The meeting was actually really, really good. So, sorry for the delay here, but basically, the New York State Brewers Association came down and they're doing a series of meetings around the state, and this is the one that they did here with New York City. So, New York City Brewers Guild meets on the second Tuesday of every month. And always does that. But this one particular meeting was because the New York State came down and the lobby, the legislation stuff, and things that can help everybody, and we're all just together and stuff.
Nice of them to do it on your regular scheduled meeting.
So the state is
made it convenient for everybody. It's a really well attended meeting. So there's representation from a lot of the breweries that we have in New York City. So it was really good.
So is the state SLA working with the Brewers Association and getting stuff done like on a regular basis? Or
yeah, there's insight to both sections. That's the State Brewers Association, and the one guy that works with that is kind of like the not really from the SLA, but is the conduit for which we can bounce questions off, find out things that we need to navigate and help keep everybody compliant and well informed on all those things. And so he did a great presentation and got everybody more in touch with kind of things we could be doing, where we might be changing or like pushing for different legislation in the state and to make all of our lives taste better and make the whole business work.
Absolutely. I hear you.
Good thing.
So
John and I are already drinking, so if you've got something, crack it open.
If you'll bear with me, you can come with me.
Take us for a walk.
Let's go.
Let's go for a laptop walk. Here we go.
Whoa, wait a second. That's an extra charge.
Yeah.
Exactly, right.
All right.
So the brewery's actually open too. Look at that.
Very nice.
All right.
There we go. There's some of the guests there.
Yeah, hold on.
You got people masked up in the brewery while they're drinking.
And here we are. People are drinking. We got some food pop-up truck happening over there.
Very nice.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. And you are going to pour yourself what? What are you pouring yourself?
I'm not sure you can hear us. Can you hear us, Chris?
I can hear you now.
Hey, what? So you've got something on a hand pump there.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
What is that you're?
Collaboration with Other Half. It's a 4% English.
Then it's an IPA.
It's
not an IPA?
No, it's not. No, actually, ironically, it's not an IPA. We actually did our first collaboration, and I made sure we did not do an IPA. So we did.
That's ballsy. Good for you, Chris.
English ales, and we did it together. We did a beer in the vein of Timothy Taylor's Landlord. Oh, and
really?
Here we have people studying for the BJCP exam too over here.
Right.
Nice.
Hey, my peoples.
Hey guys.
Hey peoples.
Good luck. Study hard. Drink lots of beer.
Yeah.
You retain more. You retain more when you're drunk and study.
Exactly.
I think that's a fact.
That worked away for me in college.
Yeah. And look where you are now.
And look where I am now. There you go.
Now I was supposed to be at your brewery on Sunday, but a little minor event got in the way of everything. That marathon thing they run.
Right.
Yeah. How close does that come to the brewery?
That was just down the block. So
That's
we had
what I
a big
thought.
old event. We had a great event. We had a big poster making session. kids came and made a bunch of posters. We tracked everybody that was running, all of our friends, and we caught them down the block.
There you go.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
It was great. It was really special. It was,
I tell you, I did the New York City Marathon twice. And
Yeah?
what I mean by that is
Went and watched.
my better my better half ran it, and I went in earlier with her. I got her on the Staten Island ferry, so she went over, and I went and had breakfast, and then I got to Mugs before they closed, I should say.
Yeah.
When they were opening at 10 o'clock in the morning for the marathon, because the marathon ran right past the front of Mugs, and got there and sat there for I don't know, 6 hours. So I was there drinking for about 3+ hours by the time, because she didn't even leave Staten Island until 11:05 was her wave both times. So she didn't even get to Brooklyn or buy Mugs anyway till like just a little after 1. So it was about halfway. So it was a while before we.
Yeah, I tried to call the organizers of the event and say, look, I've got a show on Tuesday. We're having the owner Fifth Hammer on. I need to have some of his beer.
Right.
And they wouldn't take my call.
They wouldn't take the call.
No.
Yeah.
They were a little busy on that day, apparently.
They were busy. So, anyway.
It was pretty awesome. I mean, I love that day. It's so amazing to see New York, everybody come out for it.
Sure.
Just
It's
to
a
see
great
2
day.
people win and 20,000 people lose. It's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing. All that.
I got the most I ever ran, and I'll do some smaller runs, but the most I ever ran was I do the Philly every year. I did a Broad Street 10 miler. The last 2 years, last year was virtual, and this year they did it. You can do it virtual if you want, or you can run it in Philly. But we were going to run it in Philly, and they usually do it in May, but they did it in October. They just did it last month. But they said you can come down, but it was going to be vaccinated only, which we are, so we were going to go. But then they said, in the interest of safety, no spectators, like 0. You just go and you run. Literally more than 90% of the fun of running that run is the spectators. So I'm not going to go to Philly and run 10 miles in silence. So we decided to do it virtual again. So there we go. So we'll do it next year.
I'm going for them. I'm just finishing them off.
You're just finish them off. Go for
Yeah,
it.
just finish.
So,
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, you're having lager. I was gonna get some lager. This is the lager room, but I couldn't help myself.
You know what the weirdest thing is? When we first started, how many shows did we go before we actually drank a lager?
I think we were on our 7th or 8th show before we actually had a lager. That's not true. That's not true. It's probably 4th or 5th, because we got into what I call beer season, but all the
Oh, you went to Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest and that, yeah. So.
Yeah. So,
but ironically, I'm drinking 2 lagers tonight. So
I'm drinking.
Well, my first beer is a Czech dark lager from Treehouse.
Nice.
I just picked it up at Treehouse yesterday. Nomad.
Nice.
It's 4.8. Yeah, 4.8 dark Czech lager.
I've got a black lager we're putting into the tanks pretty soon. It's called
Nice.
Cloak Spell, and we're gonna end up fooder lagering it too. So we're gonna lager it,
Really?
and then throw it into the wood and let it sit there for a little bit, and then
Oh, that'd be nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm actually finishing these off. I got a 4-pack of them. No, I got a 6-pack, and Carrie doesn't like it too much, so I'm throwing myself on the grenade. And
Yeah.
I've always liked this beer.
Really quick, we have another comment from Doug Smith. This is referring to Chris's beer. Real ale, nice. 4.0 and under. You did it right. I lived in London for 6 months and drank nothing but cask. Nice to
Yes,
see you have a
sir.
beer engine. So.
Douglas, thank you so much, man. We are so excited to do it, and so I started our cask. I've had that hand pump that I have out there. A girlfriend of mine gave it to me in 2006. Even though she was a keeper, we're no longer together. Quite happy also, very elated to have found Mary and to be doing all this.
I was going to say, is Mary okay with the hand
It
pump?
worked out.
That was good. She was right with you keeping the hand pump?
Yeah, we kept the hand pump, and that hand pump I used over at Jimmy's over 3 for a while, and then I lent it to Rockaway while we were building this out here, and I got it back, and I just got back into getting our cast program together.
Sure.
Because finally the tap room was bumping. It was late 2019 and beginning of 2020, and so we started the cast program in middle of February, and people were buying 20-ounce pints from the cask.
Nice.
Nice.
Beautiful thing.
Prince.
Hit and the cast program that. So we just revived it, and we did one beer before this one, and then we did this one. So it is as a collaboration with the other half. Of course, we're celebrating hops by. It's not that hoppy, but we've been hopping the base beer is not very hoppy,
Right.
But we've been hopping each cask individually with different hops. So every cask has been very different. I mean, it's been labor intensive, but it's been so fun to kind of like use this base beer to just have fun doing each cask with a bunch of different hops. So this one is an experimental hop from Hopsteiner. It's yet to be named. My friend just got a job working for Hopsteiner, and this one's pretty fun. It's like citrusy, little bit of grapefruit peel. I will say that with this beer, some of my favorites have been the ones dry hopped with First Gold or like Fuggle, going with that kind of straight traditional stuff. Yeah. That's been really great because I mean, my heart, I just love real traditional cask ales. But the other upsets have been, Nelson. I guess it's not really an upset, but some of the modern stuff that you might expect to like ended up in real hardcore IPAs ended up being really cool in this beer. Also, classic Centennial with this and Chinook. Centennial Chinook worked really well with this base.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I love those classic hops. So good.
And
Doug also just said, "Please do a mild, and I'll be up in a heartbeat." He said. So.
Well, yeah.
If you do a mild, the two of us will be there too.
Yeah,
so.
we'll be there.
Well, we'll be there anyway. But that's besides.
Yeah.
Mild,
one of my favorite styles.
Is a mild. So we did a second runnings for our Imperial Stout called Delay Pedal, and we did a dark mild with that. So I've got 4 firkins, 3 pins of the dark mild, coming soon with that.
All right. No,
very nice.
Keep me posted. I'll be over for that.
Oh yeah.
So.
Definitely need to get up in that area.
Exactly.
And that one's 3.9%.
Yeah, I got to make sure that I check the event calendar before I plan
there
it.
You go. Exactly. What you call it? So let's get some paperwork out of the way, so to speak. I get the questions, the standards ones. Let's dive into them because we usually start up with them. So I'll just go. Same question I ask everybody. If you remember it, or it can be an ish, or if you're not sure of whatever. But what was the first craft beer you can remember having?
The first craft beer I remember having when I cared about having a craft beer.
Right. Okay.
The one that made me care or like recognize that okay, this is not your average. This is not stuff.
Sure.
I was turning 19 in college, and I was throwing a party for my birthday, and I was just going to get a keg of Bud, and my friend was like, "You can't get a keg of Bud. You can't do that." And we got a Stouts London or a Stouts Honey Porter instead.
Really?
And it was killer. Honey Porter, and it was like a one-off for that year, and like I've never been able to find it. I've never been able to find it. But it was classic
Honey Porter. That's great.
Stouts was the first brewery I ever got a bottle of something, poured it, and went, "What is this stuff in the bottom of the bottle?" First time I ever encountered Lee's was from Stouts. I think it was actually their stout.
Remember? Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah. What got you into brew?
And I didn't know that beer would end up being like. I mean, I had no idea that like the Stouts Brewery was my first beer festival I ever went to. Later, also.
That's awesome.
I went with the New York City Home Brewers Guild, who are those guys that we just saw over there studying. So they got their test on this Sunday for the BJCP. Stouts ended up having a pretty significant impact on all my brewing.
Yeah, really. Evidently, definitely.
Yeah.
What got you into the business? What got you into brewing? What kicked
I think
you off
those are
for you?
two different questions as far as the business versus like into brewing. Brewing, I've always been like, I always wanted to live off land and farm my own stuff, live on, and do all that stuff. But then I started playing saxophone and I fell in love with the music. And out on a farm, there aren't that many gigs, and it's not the type of music I definitely want to.
You can play your sax all day on a farm, but nobody's going to listen to you except
the cows,
chickens.
Yeah, exactly. I do say I'll play the saxophone until the cows come home, but that's just an expression for me. I don't mean
you can play the saxophone in the cows home.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And so I live in the city, and there's not a whole lot of room and all this stuff. And then I decided to take a break from New York City, and it was in the year 2000, and I went to Philadelphia, rented a house with a band, with a full band, like piano player, bass player, drummer, trombone player. Some of my dearest friends were like, the city life is kind of crazy. Let's move to Philly for a year. I was doing a lot of playing down there, and I did some reading. We had space now. I finally had a basement or something, and then I met George and Nancy Rigby at Home Sweet Homebrew on 20th and Sansom, and they, I got a homebrew kit from them, and I was like, I'm not gonna really live off the land, but if I can make my own beer, this is cool. This is fun. So I did that, and as soon as I started brewing at the crib, I fell in love with just the process of it and the idea that you could get something from concept to glass, and that I just immediately recognized the artistry and the playfulness and the expression and the many places you could go in doing so. And there was a giant parallel to making music for me, just improvise as an improvising musician, and just like hearing a melody and wanting to put it out there into the world. I can't just like take the melody and then just make it exist on the saxophone. I have to know my instrument, and I have to know construction and the science behind, getting it from concept to glass and executing it like that. And so I fell in love with kind of diving into what that means from a brewing standpoint. And it just immediately became like a vocation or a parallel for me.
That's an interesting concept.
That is an awesome concept.
Creating music and creating beer.
Mm-hmm.
There's artistry to both.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, there's a balance between science and art and the creative creation,
and you do both for the same reason.
Absolutely.
Make yourself and other people happy.
Yeah, and so it started. I mean, I had it was a hobby for sure, and then I joined the New York City Homebrewers Guild, and one of my friends. And I was doing some part-time work up here in the city too at a finance company, which allowed me the extra income on top of what I was playing at the time,
sure.
To afford the hobby.
Right. Yeah.
Basically, that's why we have that socioeconomic disconnect, and why it's a lot of white people deal with it. That disconnect is starting to diversify more, but I think that fundamentally it's like having an income to make it work. That shit gets real deep real fast, but it's real in a lot of the reasons for the thing. I like that the industry is talking about it and looking at it and doing some more things for that. Didn't mean to jump over there, but anyway, I joined the New York City Homebrewers Guild. I was working a day gig in finance, and then I quit that in 2006 to go out on tour. Oh, at the New York City Homebrewers, that's why I brought that up. I met this guy, Chris Post, and he became a really dear friend of mine. He also was working at a bank during the day, although he was like way high up the ladder. I was just doing some shit to supplement my music habit. But somehow I think we thought I was doing something higher up. It didn't matter. We became good friends, and then he wanted to start a brewery and wanted me to help him do it. And we ended up opening Wandering Star Brewing Company in Western Massachusetts, or we found a piece of equipment or a brew house in 2004 that had only been used 14 times, and he bought it on eBay. He put the bid in on a Friday night, got it on eBay.
eBay?
Yeah, he's like, it's late. He's in his cubicle or whatever, in his office or whatever. He put a bid in on Friday night, and he's like, "There's no way. This is a fraction of the cost of whatever. There's no way I'm gonna win this. No way." He goes back to the office on Monday. He's like, "Congratulations, you are now the proud owner of this brew house." And so it took
Right.
It was wild, but we didn't have a place. We didn't have any of that stuff, and it took a solid 7 years until 2011 when we actually opened Wandering Star. So in the end, just the storage of the freaking thing, probably should have bought a new brew house when it went.
Put a new brew house in there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
It was a catalyst for doing that, and that's kind of what got me into the professional side of it.
Sure.
However, when we did open it, that was we decided to open it in Western Massachusetts because he had a house up there. And so that led me to, I wasn't going to leave New York City for the same reason I was talking about. So that led me to sales and marketing for New York City, or repping down here. I'd go up and brew with him a little bit once in a while. But really, I didn't have much experience beyond homebrewing. And I realized real quickly that brewing's hard work, and it's a lot of janitorial stuff. And I was that's really what I want to do. I don't necessarily want to work for a brewery and do that kind of thing necessarily.
Right.
Because I'd rather have it as a in the same way that I got the job to supplement my music habit.
Right.
I supplement my music. I was doing fine as a professional musician here in New York City. However, I was often on a gig and be like, man, this music is not for me. This is not really feeding my soul. It's not feeding my heart. This isn't the stuff that I'm trying to create. This isn't what I want from music. And so I realized that like that's not what I wanted from beer either. Unless I could create it, I'd rather have it as a hobby. I want to make the beers I want to make, and then do that. So I decided not to do that. And then I just became like a beer advocate for New York City. Helped start New York City Beer Week and stuff. And then out of the blue, I got a call later in 2012. Hey, Cuzme, you want to help out over this other brewery? And like, times were kind of tight with the music things. I was like, oh, sure. And I love, it's like, it's a little bit of part-time. And I was like, oh man, I love part-time. And I'd be happy to help the brewer over there. And they're like, actually the brewer split. It's yours if you want it. And so that's when I became a brewer at 508 Gastro Brewery. So it was I wasn't really looking for it. But then I got offered that opportunity. I did it. And the moment, so that's why I got into it officially, professionally, for me being the head brewer or things like that. The moment I started brewing stuff, and I was making my own beer music to keep the parallel riding, right? Mm-hmm. And the moments I think the first couple times I played some gigs there. So I was a brewer and I started playing there too. I got a piano and so the first time I'm playing with my jazz quartet and I'm looking at the people in the restaurant all drinking my beer and living off and listening to the tunes. I was like, oh man, this is I'm no longer just a saxophonist. This is my vocation. I need both of these in my life, and I need them in balance to be the me that I want to be. And so that's like neither of those things make a lot of money, even if you own the fucking place. It's so that's ultimately awesome. The answer.
Well, there you go. Great answer. That's great. That's awesome.
So then when did we get the Fifth Hammer?
That's the next question. Next step.
Oh, look, here's Kyle.
Hey, guys.
What's going on?
Kyle's tap room manager. So he comes in here for his jacket and other things. And,
does that mean he's going home?
He's going home.
My responsibilities.
There you go.
Bye, Kyle.
See you, Kyle.
Fifth Hammer. So that place in 2012, that was 508 Gastro Brewery. We were a small little restaurant. It was a kind of a little wonky little brew house, definitely approachable for me to get into, having only homebrewed really till that time.
Sure.
It was an overgrown homebrew system made out of 3 90-gallon wine fermenters. It was in the basement. Actually, this thing, this is my only relic from it. That
right there.
is the fermenter that was in the basement.
Really?
That's fermenter number 1. So they were unjacketed fermenters. I keep that as a little timepiece out there.
Unjacketed poly fermenter.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Anyway, I was there from 2012 until the end of 2014. The end of 2014 or 15. 14. I think the end of 2014 is when they lost the lease, or the lease was done on December 31st. And around the same time, a gentleman by the name of Dave Sharfstein was tired of being a lawyer, so he decided he wanted to flip over a beer bar. He saw craft beer was doing. He thought he wanted to do a turnkey, so he went to 508 Gastro Brewery, and while I was not there, had a great time. Saw the place and was like, "Why aren't there more breweries in the city? This is very interesting." And he found out that the lease had already been turned over, so that was no luck. He was lamenting that to a friend a couple of days after, and that guy was like, "Hey man, I was just over there a few weeks back, and that brewer was really nice. And I think I have his card in my wallet." And Dave was like, "Well, you got to give me that card." Gave him my card, and then I get this email out of the blue, and Dave was like, "Hey man, I don't know what you're doing right now, but maybe we can do something together." I was like, "Oh, okay, hold on, buddy. Let's just have a beer and let's find out what's going on." And he turned out he's an amazing cat, and he's a really fantastic human being. We work really well. He has skills where I don't, and vice versa. And he definitely is like an ideal partner for me and Fifth Hammer.
That's awesome.
And so we decided to endeavor into finding a way to make Fifth Hammer happen. Yeah. If perhaps your question is about the name, and I can go there too.
That was going to be
That's
my
next.
next question, actually.
So Dave and I are very different people, and like we threw out all sorts of different names. Neither of us could agree on anything. Anything we did agree on, was already trademarked or taken. And it just so happens that he was a trademark lawyer, so we're not even messing with any of that stuff. He was, which is good for the company also.
Yeah.
Right? So he's a recovering lawyer, and here we are.
Recovering lawyer.
Recovering lawyer.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. So I was listening to podcasts a lot of the time, and I listened to a podcast from Benjamin Walker's Theory of Everything, and there was a one called Guided by Voices, and it was a really cool. I mean, I implore you guys to check this particular episode out. It's super hit, but as soon as I heard it,
Pen.
story, yeah, Guided by Voices, and the podcast is in like 3 parts. The first part of it has to do with the Fifth Hammer. The middle part is this random story that's entertaining, and then the third part there goes further into the Fifth Hammer. But Fifth Hammer is based on the story of Pythagoras. So Pythagoras is credited for a lot of things. He was a mathematician, he was an astronomer, he was a philosopher, but he's also credited for discovering, he's considered the father of harmony, because he discovered the mathematical relationship between musical notes. And the story goes, he got into this because he was walking by a blacksmith and he heard this sound. He's like, what is that sound? I got to know what that sound is. I'm Pythagoras and I got to know. I ask questions. So he walked into this blacksmith, and these guys were hammering on an anvil. 4 hammers sounded beautiful together. And so he took those 4 hammers and measured them. But there was a 5th hammer. It was discordant. It couldn't be explained. It was like doing its own thing. And so to us, Fifth Hammer represents individuality and not conforming to conventional harmony. So it has that musical tie-in for me. It has that sense of individuality and that sense of like, just creative and solidarity and conviction. And I think that really resonated with me and how I want to be as a brewer, as a musician, as a person.
I gotta say, with all the genesi is plural genesises of brewery names, that's got to be the coolest we've heard on the show yet.
Yeah, that's an awesome one.
That's
Absolutely
easily.
That's in the lead right now.
There's like a second chapter of this that has to do with the universe. That's chapter 1 about harmony, but that third part of that podcast where they explain how it relates to the universe is pretty awesome too.
That's awesome.
I'll spare you my version.
I'm gonna have to come to the brewery. We're going to sit and talk philosophy one day.
Yeah, man, come on. I almost minored in philosophy.
I didn't come that close in college to minoring in anything. If you ask my mom, her friends would ask what I'm majoring in. She's like, evening classes.
Evening. Yeah,
That's
man.
great. So, all right, so you mentioned Wandering Star, and you wound up staying in New York and doing sales and stuff like that. Alex was doing some sales too, right?
Yeah, I just left Alice. He's over at Alewife right now.
Is he over there now?
The ball with
Had I known you, what I would have told you while you were over there to tell him I said hi, but
I couldn't talk to her. They were giving the presentations.
there you go. When you were done, anyway. Yeah. But but the last time I saw Alex was at whatchamacallit, Eddie's last day at Mugs.
Closing Mugs? Yeah.
Closing Mugs, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the last time. So
Did you introduce me to him?
You did, yeah. He was the one with the red hair at the bar that day.
So,
he was the only guy at the bar with red hair that day. So
Okay.
all right. Think about it, you remember. So anyway.
Probably.
Yes, because Dave was with me that day there.
We were quite a few beers in.
We were quite a few beers in at that point, yeah.
I'm sad to have missed that day, honestly. Like, I would have liked to give that a proper send-off.
That was good. Had a couple of beers with Eddie that day. That was he was just done. He was done.
Yeah.
He was done. He's like, John, I'm done.
Yeah, a good run. And,
yeah, we met afterwards in the back room.
In the back room, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but many a night spent over there with Alex and the Malted Barley Appreciation Society. So
they meet here now, which is great.
They're meeting by you now? That's awesome.
Yeah, well, they're meeting literally here now.
In that room.
Yeah, in the
all in that room.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. Right in that chair. So anyway, cool. Tell us about Mary.
Mary, oh my God, what an amazing woman she is! I love her to death. Love her more each day.
Yeah.
Mary Izette, for those who don't know her or are unfamiliar with our story, we met at the New York City Home Brewers Guild. And we were, she was married, and I was, deeply in love with the girl that gave me that cask engine. No funny business happening to that. But we ended up just like becoming really great friends. She was amazing. She came for the BJCP class. That same thing. It all ties in with tonight. We just became really great friends. We both had our official profession outside of beer with that, but we really enjoyed flavors and doing stuff. And so we started a little tasting and company together called the Degustation Advisory Team, where we would teach people how to we would just share our favorite pairings with beer and chocolate and pickles and cheese and all sorts of stuff with that. Did a lot of high society stuff and also like just really comfortable little pairings at Jimmy's Number 43. Then and we ran a couple of different beer festivals. We get real beer festivals with Patrick Doniger, who now started Alewife and things like that. We both had different adventures in our personal lives where she ended up getting divorced, I ended up doing other stuff, and eventually we were just such great friends for looking over here all the time. This makes sense, and God damn it, she was right when she said that. But yeah,
Oh, you know what they say.
She was my business partner. I was like, I'm not, because we turned that into a business, the Degustation Advisory Team, and like I wasn't going to mess with that. I don't mess with business
Sure.
like that. Like I wasn't going to let myself look at that thing in that light. Meanwhile, it made the most sense and is the most sense, and we're enjoying it very much. She was working in pharmaceuticals at the same time as she was so devoted to craft beer and tasting and flavors. She ended up landing a book deal and writing a book called Speed Brewing. And it's available on Amazon, and it's a really fun beer. One of the things that's been crazy about her is back in when she was home brewing a lot, she was like really into like brewing long-term sours, and she had like 14 or 15 carboys in her basement. She had a shared basement, and they were all like these crazy long-term lacto and PDO and Brett kind of amalgamations, and that's kind of how she brewed. And I was the other guy. I was the guy brewing like porters and like English ales, being like, keep those bugs away from me. I mean, I love my brewing. I'm like, man, I was scared of too many microbiomes and
Sure.
too much bacteria condemning my equipment or whatever. And she was like, no, it's cool. But she studied biology in school too, so she was way more comfortable with it. As a musician, I both love and scared by science, Sure. Now I'm way more comfortable. Obviously, I've got some experience and some legs there. But,
Well, Chris, there's a saying out there, and I think you'll appreciate this. It says, soulmates are best friends who fell in love.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's exactly what happened here. Absolutely.
There you go.
And so like just like Dave's wife supported him, so he quit his job to start this brewery. He had some money saved up, but his wife kind of supported him while him and I got this whole thing together. Mary was supporting me. We married in 2015. We became great friends in 2006. We started dating in 2011. She wrote her book in 2000, or the book was published, I think 2012, 2013. So, and when we were, so then, and part of that is that book is based on a lot of short-term fermentations and like a lot of alternate fermentations too. We got into after that. She's like, I can't brew regular stuff. That takes 5 years, and her regular stuff are those all sour stuff. I'm like, no, it doesn't. She's like, oh, I just want something really fast for anything. And also, we're both very last minute, so she got really into like, okay, well, what can we make really fast? And also, we both really love low ABV stuff. So, obviously, those don't take as long to ferment, and you can have some really good, really amazing stuff in quick turnaround. Absolutely. Especially now with this whole Kvike strains coming out. So we've done a lot of Kvike brewing here at Fifth Hammer, and been having a lot of fun exploring that. Next up, actually, because I have it, that tank that I just showed you out in the hall, right. I want to use I think Kvike Voss, and I want to high gravity brew some sugar water to have some seltzer fun. Now, I don't love seltzer. I want to have fun making it, right?
I gotcha.
But I like some of that, and some of the stuff that we made when we were writing a book, or when she was writing her book, and I was helping ferment all that stuff. We had so many things fermenting at the house; it was insane, man. It was really fun though. But now we have all these. We have way too many mason jars. If anybody wants a mason jar, just email me.
It was one of those. There's so much fermenting, you had to be careful where you walk so you didn't pass out from carbon, monoxide just overwhelming you.
Yeah.
You have all your detectors going off in the house.
Yeah. Close. Anyway, she supported me with the through all this with the pharmaceutical job when Dave in 2015 when as 508 closed, and Dave and I went on the mission to find a place and build this place out. And I'm forever in her debt for that as a great friend also. But as soon as we were open, we managed to get pretty successful relatively quick, and she
there's a reason for that. I've
she quit her
tasted your
job.
beers.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Before we continue any further, why don't we open our second beers?
Well,
it's your fourth beer.
It's my second distinct beer.
Right.
But be my fourth.
There you go.
What do you open? John's excited about this one.
Well, yeah, I'm thirsty. I've been finished for a bit. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed. Obviously, I'm wearing my Treehouse hat. I just bought it yesterday at Treehouse, and I got Trillium. I didn't want to be a fanboy, but I was drinking a Treehouse and a Trillium.
He's going
beer
straight up
today.
fanboy on this
show.
show.
I had a Treehouse and a Trillium glass. Here's my Trillium beer today. It's a Munich Dunkel Lager, deciduous.
Nice.
There. I'll throw that up really quick. I would have, Chris. I would have been drinking nothing but Fifth Hammer if I was able to get over there.
That's okay. I'm trying to get.
What's that?
I'm trying to have Mary come in here for a second. She just finished. I could hear she just finished hosting the trivia out there.
Cool. I just got back from Boston last night, and I picked these up, so I figured I might as well drink them while they're fresh. What does Joe say all the time, Dave?
Drink your fucking beer.
Drink your fucking beer. Don't sit on it. Buy it and put it in put it away. Doesn't make sense. Take the.
I got a few things I age.
Okay. Well, please. I bought a couple of bottles of a 12% double barrel aged barley wine up at Treehouse, so I'm not going to be drinking that anytime soon. I got two of them, so I'll drink one sooner than the other, but I'll send the other one for a bit. So, anyway, what are you drinking? Your second one.
My second is going to be Cortadito Stout. So, as you know, about a month ago, I went down to see my kids down in Florida.
Yes, you did.
Spent a little time with them. We had gone down to Miami, and I just jumped into what's it called? Beat. I need the cheaters. I'm so freaking old.
That's a beautiful color for a Dunkel.
That is beautiful. Jumped in the beet culture. And Cortadito, it's a coffee reference. I don't know exactly what it means, but this has got Cuban coffee in it. So I currently live in Union City, New Jersey. Very high percentage Cuban population in this area. Mm-hmm. And Miami, obviously, high Cuban percentage. As a matter of fact, there's a Cuban cafe just opened up down the street called Cortadito.
There you go.
So I got to look at what it means. But this is actually a coffee stout. Mm-hmm. And this is a coffee stout. Very nice. But it's Cuban coffee. That's in
coffee. It's a Beet Culture Brewing.
Oh my God. And it's this is the second can.
There you go.
And it's got a luscious mouthfeel, just an amazing coffee flavor and aroma to it. With just a hint of cream. So the Cuban coffee places make lattes out of their coffee, and it's it's an espresso kind of thing. It's so good, and this captures it in the stout. Very nice. I gotta give them a lot of credit.
Chris, the Joe we were talking about, as far as Joe says, drink your fucking beer. That would be Joe Granat.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And he just laughed and he said, "Hi, Chris."
What's up, Joe?
Yeah, that lunatic.
Yeah. You had him on this show too.
He was on. Yeah, he was on.
Yeah,
he was on with Kyle from.
John Kleinchester, and you had.
John was on.
Yeah.
Pat was on. Pat was on back in June. Yep. John Hall's been on.
Did we pull? I don't think we pulled Joe into the beer dinner show, did we?
Joe. No, yeah, he came on. He came
He
on
did
for
come
like
on.
a
That's
split
right. So,
second.
so he's been on twice. That's right.
We did a beer dinner show at the Cloverleaf in Caldwell with Carton a few weeks back.
Nice.
So a few people were on, and Joe popped in and came on.
Yep.
So it was a
Which oddly enough was the first time him and I had ever met face to face.
They've known each other through Facebook groups for the last 3 years, but never met each other.
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, COVID gotten a little bit in the way of that. I have muled him beer back from Maine,
And still never met him.
but I've never met him until that night.
So anyway, all right. You mentioned Jimmy's 43 before.
Yeah.
I miss Jimmy's.
Me too.
I miss Jimmy's.
I mean, I was the first silent partner with all that stuff, So that's where Mary and I did a lot of our early pairings,
Sure.
and that was the outlet for that. And that was also where I learned a lot about the industry and the people I met through there. People
Sure.
who got in there.
I love sitting at the bar with Jimmy BS and his one guy bringing us out hot peppers to eat. Just Here, eat these. Jimmy's like, here, eat these.
It's just, and you never knew what you were gonna get.
That's it.
Like,
Love that. Love
That's
that.
good. So, all right, music. We've been dancing around that topic for a while. I know it's not beer, and this is
Nope.
the log room, but it doesn't matter because it all relates, right? So,
that's right.
yeah, let's talk about it. What you've been playing sax for a long time. In fact, I pulled a picture off of your Facebook. I think it's a recent picture. Was it the Jersey City Jazz Festival or something?
Oh yeah.
There we go, right there.
Just play-
Where is that held?
It looked like it's suspect. It was held in the parking lot not too far from Departed Souls.
Okay.
Forget where
Down
it is. And that saxophone's a Barry saxophone. I just started playing Barry.
Yeah, it's a Barry. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got them all with me. I'm looking at them now. But
You play. What do you primarily play?
primarily tenor.
Tenor.
Yeah.
Tenor. You have a soprano or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got them. I have a really great case that has them both in the same case. So I
A
always
soprano and an alto, or a soprano and a tenor?
soprano tenor. I'm
Tenor.
usually rolling with.
Gotcha.
But then I just started playing Barry with that band, and that band is a really fun band. It's a band called Brawlick, BRAWLI.
Gotcha.
Okay. And it's just a really great force of energy and a kind of one of those places where every individual, our moniker is actually kind of like this Voltron character.
Voltron. There's.
Oh, there's a Mary.
Hi, Mary.
And
she brought you a
beer.
beer.
That is definitely a keeper.
You remember Johnny?
Yes, vaguely.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
Pretty good.
I was just telling them about Brawlick and how like all the individuals are incredible, and that's why we have our sorry, there's no CK, but our
That's right.
logo is basically like a kind of a Voltron type character.
There we go.
All of us individually are strong in their strength, but together it's just awesome.
That's
Fi-
great.
5 mini lions make one.
So it's 4 saxophonists in the front. I'm on Barry. There's a soprano saxophone and there's 2 tenors, and then
Nice.
there's 2 guitar players, 2 drummers, 1 bass, and 1 keyboard. And it's
2
pretty good.
drummers. You got to
Two
2 actual
drummers.
kits. 2 actual kits or percussionist and.
Two actual kits. Yeah,
Wow.
2 actual kits. So it's like, it's a big fun day. We were just talking about your basement, Mary, and that's not a euphemism. In your old apartment.
Apparently, your basement used to be very, very sour. That's what we heard. So.
Yes, that is true.
And how that kind of brought you to like, I don't want to brew beer because it'll take too long. So that's when
Well, because I had 23 carboys of various sizes in my basement.
this is true. I said 16, but yeah, 24.
He did say 16, so he was wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
So-
I think it was like 20 something. But I mean, some of them I had like, I think there were some gallon experiments that I was doing too.
There you go. So maybe you weren't counting them.
So this is, all right. So this is a Vienna lager because
Nice.
you guys were just sharing your second beer. The
Yes,
Vienna
definitely.
lager collaboration we did with a brewery called Mass Landing out of Maine. And
Yep.
Oh, love them.
Dave and I were just both there about 2 months ago.
right
Yep.
on.
Yep.
So we did this, and it's fooder age lager.
Love it.
And figured it was the appropriate beer to drink.
Did they come down here and brew with you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they came down.
Yeah.
That's
I gotta
awesome.
get We just packaged it the other day, and I'd like to get it up there. The beer is called Jib and Jigger, which is in addition to saxophone and beer, I love sailing a lot. I grew up sailing, and the jib is the front sail, and Jigger's the back sail. If you have a main sail, or like if you're lucky enough to have a 2-masted boat, and when you drop your main and you're just sailing Jib and Jigger, that's the vibe.
There you go. That's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, they're brewing some good liquid up there. And one thing Dave and I concur on is they have food at the brewery, and their BLT is just
that's pretty good.
Insane.
But it's getting to the point almost anywhere I go, John gets the BLT. So I just really think he's a major BLT.
I'm a big BLT. Yeah, I am. Oddly enough, it started out with the whole bratwurst thing on the intro for
but because I'm going to Boston in a week and a half. He's going to Bukowski's, and he's like, get the BLT. I'm like, you say that everywhere I go.
It's a California BLT.
Oh, it's the California
BLT with avocado.
Right.
But it's good though. Anyway, anyway, you the beer you're making there is great. I just was talking. We were talking about the your music and everything else. What you're primarily like playing jazz, or you?
I believe the same things about beer.
We're going somewhere with this, so.
So there's like there's a really great quote from Duke Ellington where he says there are two kinds of music, good music and the other kind. And I believe
great. I love it.
About music, and I believe that about beer. And also the other, I'm going to Columbia next week to judge a beer competition, and Peter Buchart and Phil Markowski and John Palmer, me and Jennifer Talley, and our hosts are going to brew a collaboration. So that's really hip. I'm really excited about that. And in our little thread, Peter, everyone's like, what are we going to make? And Peter's like, let me just like start this off right now. And he said, let's not brew to style. Styles are a box designed to stifle our creativity, our artist creativity. So
wait a second, but you've got a BC. What class do you have going on outside right now?
That's a beer judge certification. Yeah, exactly. The irony of us having to go down there and judge.
The irony.
Yeah, you got to know what it is. Those are exercises to be. But I mean, that's part of the beauty, right? They're like a little bit about what it is. Like you learn. You asked about jazz. I studied jazz and I hate the word, but I hate the word because of this belief of like.
Right.
Because music and good music is good music. If it's no matter where it's rooted.
Doesn't matter what it is. It's good. It's good. Yeah.
Right. And I think that some of the best elements come from people who understand improvisation, and if you want to call that jazz, then fine. But really ears up and be adaptable, be nimble. And I think that also like that is a great parallel to running a successful company or a partnership in anything. Just what you once you get another person other than you involved, now it's a team. Now it's reciprocal. Now we're listening and feeding back to one another, and we're making a project that's bigger than ourselves, but we're bringing what we have to the table, and being nimble and being flexible and respectful within that is the most important thing.
Sure. And
when whether we're collaborating or trying to sell beer.
Right. Or whatever it is you're doing. Yeah, exactly.
Collaborating in creation or just trying to move it and be an identity.
That's awesome. So you're basically gonna go and you're gonna create a new style, is what you're saying when you're doing the collab, right?
No, we're not gonna call it a style. We're just not gonna let that
not have any style. Because I was gonna say we know a few people, but we know one in general that comes up with his own styles all the time.
Don't say his name.
Not saying his name. Not saying his name. If you say his name 3 times, he appears on the show, so we can't do that. So.
Yeah, it's
like a
like
Beetlejuice thing. So.
But no, you bring up a great point, and I love that where, yes, they are these boxes, and it can constrain you. But those boxes exist for a reason, right? You started off. What style did you start off with, Chris?
With what music?
This morning, today on the show. What style beer did you start off with?
I called it an English Pale Ale.
So it's an English Pale. So, and you're talking about, and then Doug brought up an English Mild.
Yeah.
Right. So these styles, when they're done and they're done to perfection, there's a reason they exist, because when they're done to perfection, they're fantastic. Mm-hmm. Right. So they're great. So that's one side of it. But then the other side is just throwing that all away and just brewing what you love and and sometimes, it doesn't matter if you think or care if anybody else loves it. If you love it and that love is put into it, other people are going to love this beer.
Well,
Right. So I see both of these
Right.
in the beer world.
Yeah.
But
There's a lot of both of it. Yeah, absolutely.
look about it like from a consumer perspective. Some people are more likely to order a hazy IPA than a New England IPA or any kind of IPA. So hazy IPA technically not a category in BJCP, at least I don't think it is. But that is kind of a catch-all category for exactly what that is, hazy IPAs. The other thing is we've always brewed saisons. We used to call them saisons. Now we call them farmhouse ales.
Right.
Because
Everybody knows they'll order a farmhouse ale, but they will not order a saison.
Right.
So that's something that we have learned along the way.
I know someone who will always order a saison. She's like over there somewhere.
She'll always order a saison.
She loves a saison.
But usually people that will order a saison will also order a farmhouse.
Right.
Because they know that they're the same thing.
Right.
You know what we have to do. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. A saison? No, I don't want a saison. I'll take the farmhouse ale.
Very nice.
Right. Exactly.
A lot of that going on.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All
So
right. Well,
Mary is the most in touch with kind of what happens in the front of house for us as Fifth Hammer, I think. Especially the pandemic. You kind of single-handedly saved us from utter catastrophe with everything and stepped in when everybody self-furloughed and some did not return. Our taproom manager was going to move anyway. Just happened to be on a vacation when the city closed down.
when the city
Mary
closed,
jumped in and did it. So.
and she saved the day. Kudos, Mary. Kudos on
And
that one.
we're quite happy for that.
Last 18
Cheers on that.
months, whatever.
All right. Well, we're talking about the music, and the segue I was getting to with the music talk was
We went way that way.
We
didn't
went way that way. Yes.
Pretty sure a lot of that-
As we always do.
We do that all the time.
So, but,
we have so many.
to stifle our creativity.
Exactly. It's all that's case in point right there.
We have so many failed segues on this show, and we've actually at times when one of us is trying to segue, the other's called out. Says, "No, stop doing that. We're not done here."
We're not. We got more to do here. So on that note, let's get to our top threes. Our top threes is music related tonight,
that
right?
thing.
So we'll do that tonight. We do a top three list. Why do we do a top three list? We say this every week.
Why?
We do a top three list. Well, the main reason is because when we first started doing the top three list was before we started having guests over a year and a half ago, and it was just Dave and I. So we did 2 top threes, 33. We paid homage to 1933, the repeal of Prohibition, right? Nice. But the other reason is if we do a top 10 list, it would take too long. So
this show would be 3 times as long.
We do a top 3. So. Right. So our top three.
Now here's the hint. Also, clue you in. It's a top 3 list. Because we will not be boxed in, we never stick to 3 anyway.
Yeah, we usually get 4 or 5 in. It doesn't matter. So. But
I would argue 8 in my case.
Well, tonight's top 3 list is top 3 favorite saxophonists not named Chris Cuzme. There you go. None of us can name you. It doesn't matter. So
you warned me that this question might come up tonight, and that's why I'm arguing 9. So yeah, actually, no, I should argue 11. But all of our tanks at Fifth Hammer are named after my favorite saxophonists.
Well, there you go.
Oh, okay. So name your tanks.
They're all my tanks.
Really?
But I did name them in order, but they weren't really in order. They were just some of that order is like of the most influential. However, if you had to limit me to 3 to speak on right this moment, I would say Sonny Rollins, Pharoah Sanders, and Dexter Gordon. And those
nice. Going deep.
Those are my guys. But as far as like how our tanks are named, we have Charlie Parker,
of course,
Train, Dexter Gordon, and these are in order on where they're placed.
Yeah.
Charlie Parker, Bird, Train, John Coltrane, Dexter Gordon, long tall Dexter. That's our bright tank actually. So everything goes through Dexter Gordon. Well, sorry, the idea was that almost everything was going to go through that, but then we changed our whole system and how we do stuff. So everything's a uni tank now. Is what things. But it wasn't intended as a lie at the beginning. But anyway, he also long, tall Dexter. So,
long, tall, there you get tank. Yeah, absolutely. That works.
Then Sonny Rollins. Then Paul Gonzalez. You guys know Paul Gonzalez?
No, I am not familiar, no.
The year's 1956. The big bands are going down, and like bebop is coming up. And, Duke Ellington's band has not played, hardly playing or hardly getting the respect that did. Count Basie, same thing. But Duke Ellington's band with Paul Gonzalez as lead tenor, they went and played Newport in 1956. Paul Gonzalez played this fucking solo, 27 choruses, and just everybody was energized, and it got everybody back. The song is diminuendo and crescendo in blue, and Paul Gonzalez is just freaking amazing on it, and he just crushed it and killing it. Some people argue there's also the legend of the lady in white. There's a lady dancing in front of the stage that's kind of like doing the whole vibe. That helped energize the audience, which energized Paul, which energized everybody. And also the second half of this story is that concert was so popular and it brought Duke Ellington band back to play another 40 years. Actually, I have friends that still play in it, but obviously Duke's been out, and Billy Strayhorn passed late 80s, right? And his mother called it the Build album. But the only time Duke Ellington ever lost his shit was when they had to re-record this album, or like this live album, because the live recording was not that great, and the record company wanted the whole band to play it exactly like they did, like on the thing to augment it. So they basically recordings, and they tried to blend the shit together. And that the only time Duke really lost his shit,
as he should have. You can't recapture.
Yeah.
You can't recapture magic.
A live performance.
But they tried to do it and do it anyway. And then they kind of also added like in different places like sounds for the remastered. So it's really interesting to go and listen to the unremastered or the one that's not that. If you have a chance to get the record. Anyway, it's fascinating. But anyway, Paul Gonzalez, not just because of that solo, but because he really was super slick, super smooth. And was just like, he is, to me, one of the greatest unsung heroes, him and Don Redman. Anyway, that's tank number 4. Then we got Ornette Coleman, Pharoah Sanders, and then we have Lester Young, Sidney Bechet, Ben Webster, and Coleman Hawkins.
Very nice.
Wow.
Those are my tanks.
Very nice.
And then there's one tank that's just called the Fun Tank. Well, it came to us. Actually, its name was David because we got it from Big Alice Brewing Company, and they called it David. And I just never renamed it. It had a name, except we just called it the Fun Tank because that was what we use it for.
Oh, but he did, Doug. But he did.
I didn't mean to screw it. You're calling yourself the Beer Samurai, though.
Yes. No, I'm reading one of the comments we just got. So you might as well throw it up there, John.
I'll throw it up there too. Yeah. Doug Smith just commented in. Favorite sax players? How can you not mention Charlie Parker? He did. New Jersey guys, I'll go nuts with Clarence Clemens.
The Birdman, right?
Yeah. And there you go.
And you're right about that polka appreciation and understanding. It's not that I don't appreciate it. And I think I do understand it. It's just not high on my list of personal styles where I get.
Sure.
But I'm going to definitely check out John Gora. I'm writing that down.
Write down John Gora. We'll do it. We'll do it.
Yeah.
So, and Doug, he did mention that was one of the first people he mentioned. It wasn't in his top 3, but it's definitely in his top 11 that he has fermenters named for it. So.
Yeah.
And it's New Jersey guys, not New Jersey guts, he said.
Yeah, I was wondering about kind of wondering about that comment.
There you go. That's awesome. So your top 3 would be Sonny Rollins, Pharoah Sanders, and Dexter Gordon. Those are your top.
That's only because you're forcing me to do that. But there is no. It's like one of those things.
But it's hard. You got your top 11. Your fermenters are your top 11. Your top 3 are your top 11. That's the.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. But also like beers. It's not just for breakfast, So
right. Exactly.
Well, we've said it many times on the show. You ask us again in a month, our answer might change.
Absolutely.
Once you get to a certain level, then it's just like, what do you want at the moment? And
right.
Like,
it's right then. It's right then. That's the
that
deal.
too. Yeah.
You can want for the moment. So sometimes I want Paul Desmond. Sometimes I want Paul Gonzalez. Sometimes I want Bird. Sometimes I want Bird in the bebop area. Sometimes I want Bird with strings.
There you go.
Sometimes I want Miles, Birth of the Cool. Sometimes I want Miles, doing Bitches Brew.
There you go.
God, yeah. And a lot of people don't, everyone looks at Miles, that, trumpet player, but man, sax. He could blow a mean sax too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know that.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't. Sure.
But where you did Kenny Garrett from pops in.
Bitches Brew is great. It was.
God.
So, anyway, all right, Samurai. What are your 3?
Well, Yeah, I'm gonna uncharacteristically go 3-2-1 because I usually don't do that.
You never do that. No.
I never do that. I usually categorize, but number three is because between three is just like a catch-all of the classics.
You have your number one, you have your number two, and three is everything else that you can't put in one or two.
Right.
So it might end up being six different people.
Well, I'll put three in. I'll put three in there.
He's
going to
put three in his number.
That's going to be Charlie Parker. Mm-hmm. It's going to be Coltrane. It's going to be Stan Getz for me. That's right there. Number two for me is one that not a lot of people know about. I just love his sound. I love what he does. I love his ingenuity, and that's Roshan Roland Kirk.
Oh, hell yeah!
God damn, this guy plays three at a time. He'll put a tenor, a stritch. Now a stritch is a straight alto, and a manzella. He'll put them all in his mouth at the same time, so that he can play a true natural chord and be the whole sax section himself. But he's also invented a bunch of different things. He's like mixed and matched and Frankenstein saxophones to come up with just completely different sounds. And if you've not heard him, he's different. He's out there. He's fantastic.
Don't forget the nose flute. That nose
flute. The nose flute, yeah, absolutely.
He plays almost every single instrument that he can put up his nose or in his mouth, right? And I'm wondering where else he would. No, I'm not gonna go there. But my number one, being a New Jersey guy.
New Jersey gut, right? Yeah.
Well played.
Clarence Clemens, my God, the way he can make that his act sing and wail. And the way he just fit it into the music, and maybe I'm just biased being from Jersey, but what he could put out there. I mean, there was a bunch of other rock saxophonists that could really do stuff like Junior Walker. I mean, he could make that thing scream. My God, the sounds he got out of his sax were fantastic. But number one for me is Clarence. I grew up listening to him play and make that horn sing.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Your love for that kind of brings me back to why I love Pharoah Sanders so much. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people don't get down when Pharoah Sanders gets like real screechy or like is screaming. That kind of Albert Eiler's killing too, by the way. I'm really into that.
There you go.
But when Pharoah goes out of the thing is you can't take an excerpt of a song.
Right.
Especially a Pharoah song. Yes, some of those songs are 30 minutes, but that's what makes it so incredible. You're on this journey, and it is like every song is like a journey of life. You're right here, you're rolling well, and then all of a sudden you're in this place of frustrated angst and this stuff and this tension and stuff, and then you can come back into this beauty that is like just this magic stuff, man.
Exactly.
The piece is a whole.
Yeah.
Yep.
And all the parts make the whole.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. So. Well, I'll go, but since between the two of you mentioned pretty much anybody that I was going to put on my list, between Charlie Parker and John Coltrane and Stan Getz and Sonny Rollins and even Clarence Clemens too, those, 3 or 4 or 5 of those 5 would be on my top. Would it be on my top 5? But I'm going to throw in Anthony Braxton.
Oh hell yeah! Right on. I see where you're coming from.
Absolutely. And then I'll even go a little newer, get out of old school and go a little newer, some of the newer guys or whatever. Jay Beckenstein, from Spyro Gyro or whatever. He plays he's decent. Thing. And then I don't know if you know Andy Snitzer. Andy Snitzer, yeah, he's toured with the Stones for 25 years now as their saxophonist when they go out. He's played with Bob James. He's played with Joe Sample. He's done maybe 6, I think, albums now himself on Warner Brothers, or the jazz label for Warner Brothers or whatever. But he actually, I've actually known him for just about 30 years now. He actually, I did an album back in 90, 91, and he actually played on it. So he
Nice.
I worked with him, so that was
Nice.
cool. I'll throw him in there too, but he's good too. I mean, he even did some pop stuff back in the '80s. I mean, you heard the song. You remember the song "Waiting for a Star to Fall" back in the '80s? He played. It was a top 10 hit back in the '80s. It was just a bubblegum pop hit back in the '80s or whatever. But had a really good sax solo on it. He played that too. So, but yeah, no. I mean, the top three would be, if I had to put the top three though, I would actually put Parker, Coltrane, and Sonny Rollins. Those are
And those are actually in order. Tanks 1, 2,
Of
and
your
3.
tanks.
Yeah. I mean, those are like obviously those are like the most super. Come on, yeah.
You gotta love it. There you go.
And I just and on any given day, you'll see me in different orders of all of this. You know, I love Ornette Coleman. I love Dewey Redman. I love I love them all. And when you're
It's awesome. But yeah, exactly. It depends on what you're listening to, right? I mean, I can get into a mode where I'm listening to Men at Work, and then
And I'm sitting here now thinking I need to get back to the blues and jazz that I used to love to listen to. It's been a while since I've gotten back down into that road.
Yeah.
Mary's big into blues, or was for a long time, right? Who are your favorite blues players? I mean, I know that you don't acknowledge that there are any other saxophonists other than the one named Chris Cuzme. So I appreciate that. What? There are other.
I mean, all of us, though. I mean, we all feel the same way. That's why we had to make this top three list tonight. Top three favorite saxophonists not named Chris Cuzme.
Right.
So, I mean, that was a given. I mean, you had to do it that way. So, but
Mary, what are your favorite blues things? You're
I don't know. It's been too long. Also, I'm really tired. It's true.
Blues.
I need to see it tonight, so.
I've got to throw up my my Muddy Waters playlist.
Sure. Absolutely.
God. That stuff's so raw, so powerful.
There you go. What you call it? Yeah, I got a friend of mine, actually, a guitarist I was in a couple bands with back in the day. He actually he's got a band. They haven't been playing much. Gee, I wonder why over the last year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But Live in the Blues band, and they're just fantastic. Those guys. So just a local band, North Jersey, New York. They play so really good. But anyway, digressing back into some beer and liquid talk. You mentioned seltzers before. This came up today. I actually saw this today. Shiner released a ready? Here we go. I'll throw it up there.
Yeah.
Straight shooter.
Yeah.
Juicy dill pickle seltzer.
Oh, I hope someone's not watching the show right now.
Juicy dill pickle
I
seltzer.
hate on that, but I can't hate on that because I've been drinking a lot of pickle juice lately. And
But is pickle juice and pickle seltzer really related?
I have not yet taken some club soda and thrown it in the pickle juice, but I have been.
Interesting. Yeah. I hope she has.
I'm not hating on it, but I find it interesting. But I will say, yeah, I love pickle juice. I can drink, I can drink pickle juice. So
That's
it's
kind of where I was getting, or like where I was at when we were talking about Mary's book and like the exploration of flavors and kind of
Sure.
where everything kind of went and like out of style guidelines and things. She just said I would drink it too. And you try all that stuff. You try, like all the stuff that you're quite adventurous with all sorts of flavors. And
nice.
he's largely behind a lot of the creativity of some of the places we go here at Fifth Hammer that I would not be thinking of. Like a lot of what happens is pillow talk, which was a series.
There you go.
Original series of us.
You gotta love it. There you go. All right. You have anything else to talk about, Dave? Anything you wanted? Anything you jotted down or whatever? Because I'm.
No, I'm kind of.
Rapid.
You got to remember, I'm 4 beers in.
You're 4 beers in. Well, I'm actually 3 in because I had 2 on the show, but I did have 1 before. So
I will throw some stuff in just because you might not, because you weren't able to get here because of the marathon to have some of the beers.
Right.
And had you been able to get here, then I would have excitedly talked about a couple things. We just got into can conditioning. And we are super excited to be making Belgian beers that are can conditioned.
Can conditioned Belgian.
Can conditioned Belgians.
So by can conditioning, we're theoretically we're having less DO issues, and we actually not more than theoretically, but
Attention, Matt Patensky, are you listening?
Matt, listen to
so
this.
it's cool, and it's been a lot of fun, and we actually just won an award for can conditioning with honey. from the National Honey Board, and so we have a Belgian wit that we did with orange blossom honey, and it is, I love it. Love it.
Really?
But also, we can get higher carbonation can conditioning than we can either force carbing into kegs or cans.
Really?
It's hard to fill.
We can get the proper carbonation for those styles of beer with only by can conditioning, period. You cannot get that. Our canning line will not handle that degree of carbonation.
Mostly because the balance of our glycol system won't really handle that degree. If we got it really cold and didn't allow that for that to come out, or weren't dealing with the exchanges, it'd be just tough.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, we get, like, because we're can conditioning with honey now, we're getting additional, secondary aromas and flavors in the can conditioning process.
That's awesome.
It's adding more complexity and depth. So those are the top two reasons. Yes, we get less dissolved oxygen because obviously we're kicking up another fermentation, but primarily it's because that carbonation. I mean, we all had Saison DuPont in the bottle, right? You can't get that. You can't get that out of a draft. It doesn't exist. No system can pour that level of carbonation.
But no.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's one thing I'm really excited about. And actually, the cask ale that I had at the very beginning, we've been can conditioning. Those are English ales too, to a different degree, and not with honey. We're changing what it is. So basically, I'm not really calling them that. I'm actually back to the Beer Samurai's crisp beer he's drinking. David, you were drinking crisp, and they used to call those. They used to call them. Does it say nano keg on that?
Does it?
Nano keg.
There's so much text on this can.
They used to call their cans nano keg. So anyway, with anything on can conditioning, I'm calling of the English ale variety, I'm kind of calling nano firkins.
Nano firkins.
I like that.
Like, yeah, those are my nano firkins. Yeah.
I like it. That's great.
So we have
Fifth Hammer, the first nano firkin brewery.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
So we got our barley wine in some cans, can conditioned with dextrose, and we have that other half collab, that English pale ale, can conditioned.
That's awesome. Did you say you're can conditioning a barley wine?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so you can age it and keep it for next year. We're gonna can condition. We have a Belgian beer, our Hammer Holiday. Our first one, so Hammer Holiday 2021 is happening next, probably in 2 weeks. We're gonna do that. Nice. I'm hoping to save some to be able to do myself a vertical. Like, we're gonna have a Hammer Holiday beer year over year. They might.
There you go.
You got to do it. I mean, it's just you just said it. You have to do it. Done.
Yeah, have to do it.
The story.
Now it's preserved. I was recording.
There's space on that shelf right up there.
Yeah,
there we go.
That is a fascinating play for the place. Never a hard thing is like
Since we were blocked getting to you on Sunday, I'm pretty certain we will probably at some point in December get to you. November is already chock full.
November shot for me too. We'll go out. We'll take a ride out. We'll come out in December. We'll come out and see.
Yeah, that is sure.
Absolutely. And then and as soon as that barley wine is ready to be released, let me know. I'll come by and pick it all up.
It's there.
Yeah. It's ready.
Yeah. Okay. So that'll be like December 4th. We may be there.
It would be sooner than that. Yeah. Exactly. Cool. I was just going to say, anything else coming up besides those things that you're excited about? Anything else on the horizon, like events, any releases coming up for the holidays? Anything else going on at the brewery before we?
That release is cool, and then we just started getting our first beers out of the foeder bottle condition and stuff, and that's been really fun. So actually, with that foeder being Sydney Bechet, we call it Bechet's First Play. And so the first thing that came out of our food is Mary watercolored a silhouette of Sidney Bechet in black, and his horn is in gold. And out of that is coming all these little. But it's just like it's a nice little label. It's classy. It's corked and caged, and we did that with wildflower honey.
Nice.
Wildflower honey. And I'm really excited about that one. It's like just a low ABV beer, 5.5 kind of golden sour kind of thing. 5 different Bretts with a Belgian wheat yeast, 50% pills, 25% wheat, 25% oats, and it's cool. It's the start of basically what we're turning that foeder into a Solera project. So we're just about to.
Oh, really?
So that
very nice.
Like nothing in that tank will taste like what that does right now, because that was the first fill too. That was Bechet's first play. That was the first fill. So you're getting that fresh, that fresh Wisconsin. Was it? No. Where's it from? The wood.
Missouri.
White
oak.
Yeah, white oak. Very white oak. Yeah. from Food or Crafters.
Missouri White Claw. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So that's the first turn of it. So like just going to change from here, and we're going to start inoculating that foeder with different.
Yeah, you could put the same damn beer into that. A year from now, it'll be a totally different beer.
Absolutely, and on from there.
So
Absolutely.
it's a project that we're really excited about, and you know, we Fifth Hammer, like I said, even with the story of what that is our mantra. Like we just want to stay creative and stay to ourselves and not worry too much. But it is a business, so like Mary was saying, like we still have to pay attention to what to call things. We have to pay attention. We have to not make the things that are going to keep the lights on. But
you still got to make your IPAs.
Yeah,
Right.
But we don't want to never forget why we want the lights on. Right.
Right.
So we want to keep the lights on, but we want to remember why we turn the lights on in the first place.
Right.
And I think that finding that balance is like really important to us. And
Like the balance between your beer world and your music world.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. You got your A sides and your B sides.
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. So, your A side gets airplay. Your B side is why you made the music in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you're and that's a Venn diagram. If you're lucky, it looks like that. Or, you know, those circles.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's constantly flexing there, and so
Awesome.
I get it.
That's great. And as well you should. That's awesome. That's great. All right. Well, I mean, it took a little while, but this was,
sorry for the delay.
No. This was.
I learned a lot over there, and it was really good. The New York State Brewers Association and partnering up with the New York State Brewers Guild.
Well, the interesting thing is, it kind of almost took John and I back to the roots of the show, because if you remember, we said it started off with just the two of us without a guest, and it was really just us kind of BSing back and forth a little bit. It was stupid, like our first shows were. But we got some goofiness in, and we had a little fun with it. So,
Sure.
you know, no worries on this.
It worked. Yeah, no, and it turned into a great show. This was an awesome show. And
Yeah.
we really both appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me. And, seriously, thank you.
Absolutely. No, definitely. Don't go anywhere. Don't disconnect when we're hanging up. We want to talk to you after we're done. We're just going to do the sign off, if you will,
Yep.
and we'll end the wrap with the show. So
Watch this. Watch him. He's
There you
got
go.
this whole thing.
We'll wrap the show up for today on that note.
Feel free to heckle him.
There you go. And then, as Dave always does. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and, of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night, usually at 6:30 Eastern
Not
time.
even close tonight.
I
usually say ish there.
Yeah.
This was beyond ish.
But for those of you that just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. Plus, the show is now available on Amazon Music Podcasts and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already,
this blows me away that people can get onto Amazon Music and actually listen to us two jackasses. It just befuddles me. Anyway,
and
continue
iHeartRadio for that matter.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Chris, thank you for coming on. Mary as well, Thank you for coming on. Delayed or not, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. It was a great show. Really, really appreciate it.
And the people who listen to it on all that crap you just mentioned, they don't care, because they're going to listen to it whenever they want to listen to it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The only the people that were watching it live are the only ones that, were delayed. Everybody else is listening to it whenever they listen to it. So it
Doug and Joe were the only ones who cared.
Doug and Joe, pretty much. There you go. Anyway, have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly, and we'll talk to you soon, folks. Take care, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, folks. I'm out of beer.
No.